As usual, I want to say plenty thank you to all the partners, members of the electronic and print media. I already say the print media, so I'm not going to tell them thank you, fine. So I want to tell thank you to all the journalists, all the editors there. We help me go. I want to tell thank you to the partner that I'm here, so Orlando Pixel and Sierra Wata and Elcom, all the one of the make sure so we get internet. And all community radio stations across the country where you can be live. This is a very special edition of the Press and Civic Engagement because this one they focus specifically on the mining sector, and we do this in collaboration with the Ministry of Mines and Mineral Resources. Today we get a very distinguished panel here. We can talk about a very simple yet complex issue. The theme for today's press conference now, the mining week and the mining sector within the at stake. We're very honored today to get the Honorable Julius Matai, who is the Minister of Mines and Mineral Resources. He will come and talk about the state of the sector and give you updates on mining week, waiting family for expect. I also get on the far right somebody we I think say plenty people also sabi. Me and my own brother, I come with of the Radicals Club, so it's a we can also just a comment for me personally na squaddy. That means me to go Radicals on the same day. Mr. Ibrahim Soye Kamara, I am the CEO for mining company where they call Mayor, but also they are as well for talk on behalf of the Chamber of Mines and the country. I also want to especially welcome my sister, we come out Angola, but originally from Zimbabwe, Madam Ella Muchengwa, the Executive Director for the African Diamond Producers Association. So we get a very distinguished guest. We're very pleased and privileged in Sierra Leone to welcome you, and particularly as the spokesperson of the government of Sierra Leone, I want to welcome you to Sierra Leone on behalf of my colleagues and the government. And I thank you for your collaboration and very fruitful working relationship with our distinguished Minister of Mines and Mineral Resources. So we're looking forward to hearing what you have to say. We conduct this engagement in our local language, Creole. So you don't have an option, you have to speak Creole today. But we will let you speak English as well. So we'll be able to mix it for you. As usual, before we start, I can give a quick update of the news. Unfortunately, I say there was an incident yesterday, so this screen will be on, but I can ask you for some your attention to the other screen there on the far side. We'll just give you quick updates of the news in the past week. So the first item, now this is very important. His Excellency President Julius Maada reiterates, say, EU President, don't spend more time after not to him, don't forget third time. EU presidents are a Democrat, and in commitment to that being absolute, they don't make this clear. The Attorney General himself made this clear in theater last week on the 3rd of April in Bali talk. He mentioned, say, the constitutional review process no get nothing to do with third term. And the AG said, say, we did try for strengthening the laws that for strengthening the democracy of Salon. So, una the journalists, they will report, una then a group, they will report anything we will talk. His Excellency no get no interest whatsoever in third term, more time, extended time, all of that they, mix balance in there. Number two, and this is also important because this news always can be subjected to fake news. The People's Republic of China will donate 27,600 bags of 50 kilograms of rice for Salon as part of the Emergency Food Assistance Initiative. The handing over ceremony will take place at the World Food Program in warehouse and East Dockyard. the Chinese ambassador, Wang Qin, been highlight China in commitment for support Salone in food security and economic development. And if you look, say, between 2018 and 2024, China don't give 10,600 metric tons of rice for every smallholder farmer for boost food production na Salone. We also talk about the other project that China they do with Salone, including National Stadium, Salone China Friendship Hospital, as just example of the friendship we did between China and Salone. Okay? They don't give yes. We will be very transparent about how the yes will be distributed as we did the last time. Okay? Number 3, the Madam First Lady, Madam Fatima Bio, they will be honored in one grand ceremony in our parliament. They will be elected as the president for the Organization of African First Ladies for Development. This event that the presidential agenda advisor and the parliamentary female caucus and the organizer, but it will draw participation from women groups there across the country. They might include them, the paramount chief there, military and police web, civil society organization, women's forum, 50-50. Beaucoup of group there, so Fula, Madinga, members of government, CPDD, and I'm a privilege for doing the introduction of Her Excellency, the First Lady. Number 5 news, now that the Minister for Foreign Affairs, Timothy Musa Kaba Alhaji, don't arrive in Astana, Kazakhstan for 1 week-long visit with a counterparts, the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs for Kazakhstan, His Excellency Murat Notliu, be invited for Dede for talk about how the two countries then will continue for work together. Number 7, His Excellency the President may receive Mr. Neil Richmond, the Irish Minister for International Development, who currently is Salone on a working visit. President Leo will be taken to Ireland for the partnership with the Salone and for the support they support the country. As you know, Salone recently established an embassy in Ireland for continue for strengthening the bilateral relationship between Salone and Ireland. Number 8, Madam First Lady just arrived in Addis Ababa, I think yesterday, in anticipation for that official inauguration where I just talked about. We now will take the seat now maybe as the president for the African First Ladies for Development. The First Lady the talk said really gladly and the committee will continue for fact for women and girl beginning rights within at this position. Number 9, the Minister for Planning and Economic Development, Honorable Kenya Bagay, currently they represent the country at the 58th session of the United Nations Commission on Population and Development in New York. And the theme this year is ensuring healthy lives and promoting the well-being for all at all ages. Madam Kenya Bagay will be one of the first speakers there in the joint statement on behalf of 78 countries and talk about what Salone they do and all of that. So I think we will tap in for a summary of the news. We will come for coming to that today, but just remind fabulous some of the highlights of the government of Salone in the past week. Because today we get plenty for talk about today, and as I say, we get a very distinguished panel. For kicking we off, I come to my colleague, one of the most, I think, distinguished public officials in the country. The man we, I think, is one of the media on the lecture, because on the lecture for putting face on our front page in plenty, because on a man also, but on a man, on a main man, a man we, a straight shooter. Every time he talk, we will not sabi much about the mining sector. We learn a lot because they deliver a lecture, a knowledge, vast commitments to developing the sector in this country is truly remarkable. So, Honorable Julius Matai, the question I want to ask you is, we'll give you 10 minutes, by the way we get the time and I am, Mr. Mani, he block me timer. So, sadly. Mr. Minister, the question is, which are the states of the mining sector in Salon? Currently, plenty mining related news day. Some good, some not so favorable. We don't say you don't be work for them all the issue here. And then this week, you don't bring up everybody in the mining sector, pretty much in Africa and even beyond. You invite them the days alone for mining week. So you take the first 6 minutes to talk about the sector. The last 4 minutes for tell you waiting up this mining week and this certificate and why it's important for Salon.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairman, for bringing me together and giving the opportunity as well to talk about the mining sector generally. Of course, for now, we know we're not a stranger to the mining sector. Before my appointment in July 2023 as Minister of Mines and Mineral Resources, me and the Director General of the National Minerals Agency from February 2019. That's a technical wing of the Ministry of Mines and Mineral Resources, and then they provide support and technical advice to the ministry. Every time we talk about mining issues, I think sometimes people can only get to focus on the narrow aspect of it. Either social media, they don't see, they don't hold somebody for illegal mining, or maybe some strike they want somewhere here and there. So I believe, waiting actually remit entail and waiting mining entail. Sometimes not everybody gets them. I'm glad I get this opportunity today. So when we talk about the mining sector generally, they cut across so many sectors, and it means we have to work horizontally, vertically with other government ministry departments and agencies. Of course, as we all know, all the minerals in this country, they are already above the ground. Not only inside the ground, not only under the ground. They belong to the state and the Republic of Sierra Leone. And we are the custodians and we the manager on behalf of the state. Through the power, we the law. Where I say the law, that are the acts together with the regulations and other statutory instruments doing for you. And the mandate is very clear. That will make sure that Sierra Leoneans the benefit from the mineral resources that we have in this country. And we'll talk about mineral resources in terms of the mandates and only solid minerals. So not too responsible for petroleum and gas that are petroleum directorate together in the office of the president. Severally, that is understanding it cannot only here, but even with other African countries, because in so many other countries, the Ministry of Mines, it includes solid minerals and non-solid minerals. So I mean that clear. We know only solid minerals we do it. And one of the most open in this country, from the common we don't begin mining in this country from bauxite, iron ore, gold, diamond, coltan, and heavy mineral sands. We'll talk about that. Well, for managed mineral resources on behalf of the country, as I mentioned, and then we have to deal with other institutions, it means we have to look at how we administer the mineral rights. For give right to somebody, be a Sierra Leonean, be a non-Sierra Leonean, we can see where invest in the mining sector. Of course, that is classified into large-scale mining, small-scale, and artisanal. And it means now we can develop a mineral cadastral system for ensuring we know where we are licensed, who are licensed, who are coordinated with the license, with all other ministries and local governments, and all other legal institutions, I mean, not institutions with legal mandates for intersect with the mining sector. So we demarcate the coordinates, we manage the license and day. Also we make assessment. Again, I make it clear. The Ministry of Mines and the end they will only collect money on behalf of the government. Assessment they do. They will issue order to pay. They go to NRA and they collect money. So license administration number one. And making sure that money once it's done, we assess work with NRA to make sure the money will be accrued to the whole on behalf of the government is used and distributed equitably. So also we will issue the license we get the revenue we assess, we call non-tax revenues. That we assess royalties, license fees, with the government collect of the NRA. Then the tax-related ones, corporate income tax, withholding tax, all of them the NRA collected and then the assessment. So we ensure make sure the land we people use. I mean, we work with the Ministry of Land Secretary Planning because it's a Consumer Land Rights Act. We work with them for make sure all the rights of the people, the traditions, and culture are well respected. We also get to work with Ministry of Environment and Climate Change for dealing with environmental issues. So before we give you a mining license, we make sure you do environmental impact assessment, and we look at your environmental footprint. We look at issues of climate change. We look at issues of health and safety over around the mining community areas. Then even land use. So how they use the land and the entire country. We also get to make sure the communities they fully participate, as I say, their rights, traditions, and culture are protected, and making sure issues like child labor, issues like gender mainstreaming, issues like conflict redress and resolution mechanisms are in place, making sure also that the mining communities that we normally disproportionately affected by the impact of mining, how basically the revenue we collect, when the government collect at national and local level, they cascade to the NSF undertake development, and NSF benefit from that. We also get to make sure we work with academia. We have a young man, a young woman in this country, to make sure the companies already come, how they upskill and build the capacity, the capabilities, and the ability to make sure they participate meaningfully. So we work with academia, we work with schools, and we work with make sure we do research and development. There are issues about human rights we deal with, corruption, transparency, accountability through the extractive industries transparency initiative that are EITI to make sure there's transparency and accountability in the sector. We will also ensure things like the institutional setup, how the ministries that work with other MDAs. Say for example, the parliament, the cabinet, the NMA, the ministry. We also get institutions who don't come on board like the Sierra Mines and Development Corporation, the Mineral Wealth Fund. How we work and make sure of course the laws are all right. Most importantly, the Ministry of Mines only formulate policies for guiding mining sector. The NMA, they implement. So that policy formulation, in 2018, the government set up 3 policies there. The mining policy of Sierra Leone, then the coverage data policy, then also coverage system policies. Now they formulate, now they take them paper in the cabinet, making sure we get concurrence and agreement from the cabinet, and if we need to revise the law, we ever take that cabinet and work through the parliament for make sure the laws are okay. What they said with laws, we have to ensure not only in the Sierra context, we have to be very much aware of what will take place at the sub-region, at the ECOWAS region. So we harmonize with policies and guiding principles in mining. We have to be aware of what will take place at the African continent. We get the African mining vision. We see Africans therefore benefit from the mineral resources through value addition and beneficiation will allow broad sustainable development. And Sierra Leone are signatory to so many protocols, conventions, and treaties. We have to be aware of that, including the Sustainable Development Goal 2030. We also therefore ensure as we do this sort of work, the health and safety and labor issues are fully addressed. Because inside the law, apart from the act that we get, the recently revised Mines and Minerals Development Act, we also get regulations. And then we get the other one, the Mines and Minerals Operational Regulation of 2013, where they take care of the welfare of the staff, the people who work in the mining industry. They're well protected, their environment is well done, they're well paid, and making sure also they are skilled. So that then gradually, look at content police we can in, we are in, especially foreign companies that we can, big large-scale mining companies, that as time they go on, USAI, Sierra Leone as a day, and capable provide similar quality of service. That you take them on board, come to them for enforce all of those things. Most importantly, we ensure the revenue will be assessed and will make NRA through the Ministry of Finance and collect the benefits Sierra Leoneans to such an extent that it's not only who can talk with mineral rich, but also how we translate which we call natural wealth into social capital for impact on the lives of the people, so that we have good schools, good roads. We also, even with pride, with somebody in this with dignity is well respected. making sure so we can take infrastructure and development. So these are some of the general things that we do in the mining sector. And over the past few years, before I come to the mining week, as I said, if anybody will follow, I mean, in 2020, total mineral export from this country, that'll be about $310 million. By 2021, even with COVID here, the last year, 2024, now $1.12 billion. 2023, $1.6 billion. Take it back to USA, the way African minerals run on mining, they all be there. Well, maybe they say the mining sector may do well, they contribute to nearly 25% to the GDP. Yes, with these figures, though, there have been an increase, but the contribution to GDP has been in single figures. Single digits, normally between 1 and 2. People can ask how is the percentages, madam, there have been a whole lot of initiatives, a whole lot of sources of revenue, which are really coming. And most importantly, let's just bring up, recent years. When you look at 2023 and 2024, waiting we
have just so you know, we'll add 5 minutes for you. The 10 minutes, the know waiting at the resources, almost we get from the mining sector, and break it down. So we'll give you time, take your time. Break that down for we can also look at the contribution of very specific minerals. That's why they accrue more than others.
All right. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. For putting in perspective, don't like I see several okay, say, so you don't need from any mining sector, I mean from any activities. Like people like could do at 3%, or they can do 3%. 3% are royalty. The revenue stream from the mining sector diversify. As I can say, we put it into 2 categories. We get tax revenues that are things like corporate income tax, things like withholding tax on dividend, on interest, on management services, GST, custom and excise import duties. That's again the Ministry of Finance and NRA. But the mining sector go to call non-tax revenues. So that royalty, not just 1%, and I mean not just one stream. For bulk, which we call bulk minerals, iron ore, bauxite, rutile, a value past $500 million, now 8% GDP. Okay? For the one they do gold, if you are large scale mining, now 5%. If you are artisanal, we don't reduce that to 1% of the value. Now, in terms of those royalties, we do $1 million. But last year, 2024, it goes to $22 million, we double that. Alright? Then also license fees is another non-tax revenue. First term, license fees for the way the last scale mining license $500,000 you pay yearly. We first will the revised Mining Minerals Act for those who increase up to $1 million, which we did. So with that, the revenue will put to the government in 2023 that be $11 million. But then that will go to $22 million, we double that. Now, when you look at what come in non-tax revenue, it increased from $32 million to $49.9 million. Again, I repeat, that are non-tax revenue. So there will be an increase. But of course, when you look, there was a decline in the total export. Which I mean by that, in 2023, that be $1.6 billion. But then, in 2024, now $1.12 billion, about 3.75% decline. People they ask why. We all know what happened in Australia time. In 2024, we didn't stop production, suspended production. And Wutan are one of those who they contribute. So I just ask you minerals. Currently, as I speak, iron ore, they contribute to nearly 70% of the total export from this country in 2024. Iron ore, a total value of the export in 2024 is $785 million. $785 million. I will attribute that to the 2 mining companies. Kingo Mining Company, where they operate Tokolini Fengbaya, and Marampa, where they operate Mr. Foki and Marampa Chief on the day. Kingo alone did nearly about 584. Then Marampa, they get his IT port, they paid about $149 million. Previously they did about 228, but they said they installed new plants. Now, just after iron ore, as I said, it responds to 70%. The next, the diamond. Diamond, I mean, we say we are mineral rich, but we put it in context to compare to iron ore. It's not really that big. Last year, when I say last year, 2024, total diamond export from this country, now $102 million. And out of that, $82 million, now we do holdings.
What are the percentage for the diamond?
The diamond?
All about 70% if you give.
Yeah, diamond is just roughly 12%.
Okay.
Iron ore 80%. The next most important commodity and the given values of 2020, these are for 2024. Now in a heavy mineral sands. A lot of people don't even know what's a heavy mineral sands of late. Anybody we don't go around Iperi, Jong, Lower Banta, Upper Banta, or Malai, or District, and it's usually called black sand. So for years, the only two people know that the Sura Hotel, they do the black sands because they don't need that more area from the 60s. But then get the machine where they call them the spiral separation plant. So they get black dirty. Then they separate ilmenite, rutile, and zircon. Where they sell. The other small one, they don't get an MSP, so they run a cocktail of all them they sell. Last year, Syria rutile, even though the production went down, but in terms of exports for rutile, about $55 million. Then they did about $34 million for zircon, then about $60 million for ilmenite. The other companies, what they say they don't have mineral sands, they did $99 million worth of exports. We're at the third largest sector in terms of export. And most of them are small scale because what we don't, only 3 years ago we began here. And what's this small scale? You set your concession of more than 2 square kilometers, 2 square kilometers, 2 meters, 2 kilometers by 2 kilometers. Last year, it normally be 125 square kilometers. So, again, one thing I get to understand, the mixture of the contribution will change depending on the circumstances today. Now, bauxite. So long, we bauxite until 2008. Veneto, they do almost 1.7 to 2 million tons per annum. They bring total exports of 64 million. But when I said no, from where the Russian Ukraine was that company gets a lot of Russian investors they affected. So from doing around 1.7 to 2 million tons per annum, they reduce that to about 300,000 tons. So the revenue they bring not be really much. Now they have about $10 million. And if you actually take 3% royalty, that's okay. Bauxite, good on. Then when we look at gold, you get several people that talk say, hey, we get gold, we get gold. Now two things that is artisanal mining. A very crucial. But at the same time, you don't need too much. I give you earlier, I say for diamond, the total about $102 million. When you do 82. But artisanal is just about $20 million. And then when you come to gold, in total about $11 million export. $10 million of that artisanal. $1 million heavy last year. Well, here's the good news. Over the last 3 years, we don't get license for large scale mining license, mining of gold in this country. For the first time in history of Australia in 2022 at the end of the day, we work with Mr. Rado Yoki and Timothy Kaba. We issue those licenses. Those are going to go to production. FG go really about. Just imagine, we do $1 million. But when they begin, they're going to be doing over $300 million a year. Yeah? Most times, 20 kilos. Compare that to Ghana. Ghana they do 120,000 tons, for which they get, last year Ghana, $11.3 billion. $11.3 billion for gold. How much we get? 11 million. If it did we compare, they're doing over $5-6 billion worth. People like this they take the money, they go. But again, one thing, why they summarize, this statistics were again, there was a time just after the war, with most mining companies of the work, that diamond will be reliable. Diamond was responsible for 85% of total export. Time can tell when the diamond begin go down, the router take over. Router that begin responsible for nearly 60%. Then said go till that time the iron ore was zero after we're in London, I'm mining the African minerals camp, they take over. They begin with 60-70%. But by November 2017, iron ore export stopped after Shandon Iron States and gold. So from 2017 till up to 2022, there was no iron ore export from this country. Just imagine, there was none, but now all of a sudden, they're responsible for 70%. Rutile don't go down, diamond don't go down. So, but there are new minerals that we try for discover, concrete minerals. Lithium, we don't give a license for that. As I mentioned, heavy mineral sands that they come up. The diamond industry, they go through a lot of challenges. 5 large-scale mining licenses for diamond. Koido Holdings, Mea, Tokuma, Sierra Diamond, and Searite. The industry did them right, but none of them the producers who are known recently, which within that program we do. We get representative now. I mean, that's a not because here anytime you only tell the best, most cleanest and kept mine, and a lot of potential. So I will stop there for now. To answer the questions.
Mr. Minister, I told you, I say anytime this minister talk, we all learn plenty. One thing they were we just clarify because when people hear the number here, it's easy for misunderstand. 2023, 1.6 billion in exports. You know what I mean? Say, now 1.6 billion government get a private company there. The private company, they don't put their money for invest. The cabinet minister say, government in they get money, the more they make, the percentage we they get. So, depending on the mineral, we get 3%. Okay? And then we get other non-taxable side they will say they get small money. So, of that 1.6 billion, 2023, government, the indirect money they get out of that is still what 20? How many million?
Like we just go take the receipt of 2024.
Okay, good.
Okay. 1.12 billion total value of export. Tax, non-tax revenue. That are the royalty, license fees, it go to about $49.9 million.
So about 50 million.
Yes. But then NRA responsible for the tax revenues.
Yeah.
We don't think we need to that are taxes. That's I mentioned that the corporate income tax, withholding tax, GST, import of fuel, capital gains tax, and all that they do. Normally, it accounts for about 10 to 15% of the non-tax revenues.
Okay. So it's another like 10% of the 50, which will be
right now, as I speak, we try for verify the figure that we NRA. It will work around there about 7-8 billion. So we ask all something like $59 million.
So
actually, we're not tax revenue, but you get other indirect benefits, things like PPE and other stuff. We of course, as you realize with the weekend, and the more you add, the more you pay. So when we watch out of 1.12 billion, let's say roughly 60 million.
Very important, everyone will understand. It's not part of the public debate to always get on civics. We get more communal there, they export 1.something billion, which we get less than 100 million. About 60 billion, the government is in coffers. And this, a lot of reasons, right? A private company, they can invest the money, then they make profits. When they make profits, and then they put small things, well, we put the system that we don't put in place. I just want to let the headline be say, government may get 1.something billion. Yes.
One caveat, I can always tell people, mining is very expensive, it's very risky. You look for something, we don't see underground. Yeah? Where most of them people like that. So people will not say to you, I don't mind the company with the mine or the community. Mine is very expensive. Let me give you an example. Now, Bauma, 2010, we will already get down the way, Clough will be the mighty not going to last year. The Amaran Gold can take over. The Alco can take over. The Lefa. Because the money they believe something, they don't spend 20 million, 30 million. Every go don't can be as a speak. They don't spend over $270 million. They still develop, and they need development. The cost of, before they go into full operation, they look at nearly $547 million. Most of that money, and then they go lend. And they get for the pay interest, and then they give you pay the principal for future. They get profit, but the profit normally and later. So most people like it can call a payback period. Imagine you take money they pour in. So what you can always say, if government say people get that money, they go to them, they get the right people, the capacity, they don't put it inside, the work staff, and all other stuff. They keep, but nobody want to take that risk because government get for provide hospital, pay salaries, and other stuff. So most countries, that royalty, that's what they do. They take some they go into partnership. So for them, when I don't say each company will come, they all get debt. But at the same time, we can sign an agreement with them for the other thing there. So I will stop here for now.
All right. Well, what we do, I want to come to Mr. Ibrahim Soy Kamara quickly, and then Minister Pem will come back to you on Mining Week because you take so much time on the civic education part, you know, you will tell me about the mining week. Because, and I also want to come back to this point where people they say why the country not get a stake, and I don't say part of it, I don't try to do the many are well funded. Now for let the country set get a stake, so we get percentage now of our exports. Like we have we say we get a stake into this. But Mr. Kamara, you na mining, I can say magnates as well. Well, the minister just say one of the major mining companies in the country, he say obviously now I get the license to do that. We don't soon also make news, plenty time when I can find some big diamond here and there, so I can joke up and say I'm each and then I think the other thing is with all this conversation about the state of the mining sector, when I get a personal experience, when I did it, and you also represent the chamber of mine, I want you tell family small about, from my own perspective, what's the state of the mining sector, which one are you see, the improvements there, the challenges there, and waiting one I will foresee. I just want to take you again, the minister just say you maintain or may your mine the cleanest, best run mine in the country. I'm proud for saying I say Leone in my border, we get the major stake in for that kind of work. So congratulations on that. But you get you 7 minutes. Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Minister, Honorable Minister. First of all, I want to say the Honorable Minister of Mines did a very good job for explaining to we all, whether we understand some things that we more often than not we misunderstand about the mining sector. So I think I agree with you. When the minister talk, we all learn. Now, again, so the minister basically summarized everything. So if I look at them from the perspective of the mining sector, i.e. the operators of the mining license, I would say this. First of all, from what the minister said, you experience something in that you see the volatility of the mining space. You see we come up from a stage where diamonds were up there, and then you see them pass the baton to iron ore, to roots and sorry now to iron ore. And the reason for that is simply the market. The market play a very big role in this. As we speak, if you look at the diamond market today, it is terrible. It has been so for a long, long time. It's never been this bad. Diamond market has never been this bad. And what that means is that mining companies and wading into diamonds get for suffer a lot. So it's not just about you producing the diamonds, you take them at the market, and maybe they will get enough for them to say you make some even marginal profit. And also the fact that now if you're in a stage like a week, for example, where the first will develop a mine for bringing a company to commercial production, for them able access capital is very, very difficult because investors are not interested in diamond right now because the diamond is bad, diamond price bad. But then if you look at iron ore, right now, iron ore there on the up. If we recall, the minister talked about the term where African minerals and London mining basically go up. That was when the iron ore price plummeted. Today, these mines are flying because the prices are appreciated, and I think that is the reality of the resource markets. That's how it is. Now, so I think the state will want to forget to all of you, and I'm saying this sincerely, and now let me get this balance where you get all of these resources on the prices going up. And I think that will be the ultimate goal way, the ultimate place where the government want for it, because then the diamonds are doing well, iron ore is doing well, woodside, bauxite, and all of these minerals are doing well. I think that is where you want to do. But today, as we speak, iron ore is doing very well. Woodside has just transitioned, as we know. We now get Leone and ownership day, and they are picking up from Woodside, the last management that they tried for do a lot of work, they're busy doing a lot of work. And then you look at, we get the mining sector, the diamond sector, sorry. The diamond sector is struggling right now. We're underwater. That is the simple truth. So if you listen to the export figures and all of that, it is simply because we're in a bad place right now. Are we going to be there much longer? It depends. Recently, the price pick up, we are beginning to see some life being breathed into the sector, and then we all know, well, very recently that the United States don't decide for imposed tariffs across the board. Now you don't come into, say, the diamond sector and other sectors, not therefore coming because investors are panicking. All now foresee waiting there for be the outcome of these tariffs and how things are going to go, whether or not they're going to be short-lived or they're going to be permanent. If they're going to be permanent, people are going to readjust. So we get some momentary increase in the market, and then hopefully we will begin to see some joy in that the markets will begin for improve. But as it stands, that is the state. So when you listen to these figures, you see those huge disparities as a result of the way the markets perform right now. And if the market picks up, you will see suddenly the contribution of, say, the diamond space will increase significantly. But then because of the state of this, we did that way. And hopefully not for too long, and then things will move.
Thank you, sir. I'll just do a quick follow-up with you. When the shift here happen, with that implication for the staff and the people there. So like Leone company, so I'm saying they're going to get a conversation about who's going to be in very, very specific states now that, business not go on, or keep with that implication for the staff and the economy from my perspective.
So, of course, it goes without saying that in this sort of situation, the economy will take a knock, because if you're not generating revenue, for diamond, for example, the minister talks about royalties. When you export, you pay royalties. If you don't export, you can't pay royalties. So government takes a knock in that regard. Obviously, you still have to pay your mining license fees, so that is okay. And then it comes to the employees. The employees also therefore take a little bit of a knock in that you can cope up to a certain period. So if things are looking bad, you're not in production, no revenue is being generated, you will say, okay, we will hold on, maybe things will pick up. But if continually things don't pick up, you therefore begin to look at cost management measures. So for example, in your case, you have an operating cost, a monthly operating cost of in excess of $2 million. If you spend $2 million month on month out of shareholder money, they generate revenue. That is not good business. It gets to a point in man will say, you know what, let me reduce this cost there, let's find ways. And normally what mining companies will do, will look at things internally first, like what are we doing right now that we can do without? What do we can afford for coping right now? And then you begin for make the adjustments in it. But then it gets to a point where you also need for beginning share some weight. So you say, okay, do we go into retrenchment mode where you therefore let go a lot of the employees then, or do we, adopt other measures? For example, in your case, you send a percentage of the workers on garden leave, so they stay home, and then you say, we will pay una 50% of our salary. So you stay home, you get 50% of your salary, and let's see how things progress. And then the other casualty will be the experts then, because the experts in the driving pay will go up. I mean, they're here, you feed them, you do everything. So we don't push over 80% of experts, I think I can say over 90% of experts are gone, because you need for shed that way. And then you take other measures. You don't just simply mean you need for beginning a safe cost for let you able to stay alive. What you don't want to do, you don't want for stop operation completely. Because what it means, if you stop completely, for let you come back and restart, for let you begin to demobilize and do all of that, it takes a long time for you for let you do that. So you don't want to do that, you want for hanging there to a point, and then you see what will happen. So government they take a knock in addition to the royalty in the form of pay. For example, if you lay off employees, then that pay is not coming to government. The NASI's contribution for the happen. And then for the local community, which is perhaps one of the biggest concerns I think even government gets, now that with these companies functioning at full throttle, then will support the local economy. People will do business, you get after shop steps, someone will supply them this and that. But once you stop, all of these businesses also begin to suffer. And they will get some serious impact to the local economy.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. The reason we make a glad we will get you and we ask the question here. This sector, with respect, such a critical sector, but most people don't even understand what's in there. If you're not mining possible, we just do so you get money. You get money, no so they get million. But if finally people understand that these are businesses and they will take loan, when the markets go down, here is a major player. It explains the challenges that they face and how they affect we all. Because of which acting for do it, Minister of Mines in policy, come to Madam Ella. we'll be talking about the challenges, particularly in the mining sector, and from Mr. Kamara, we were discussing the challenges with the diamond sector, and I know that's the sector that you represent. Make a difference in dealing with the challenges that you all face. Why is it important that you all come to Sierra Leone, and how can this be useful for our country? So we'll give you 7 minutes as well, if you want, to help us understand the role of your association, why it's important to have this meeting in Sierra Leone, and how it will be useful for the mining sector in Sierra Leone. You can take the microphone, please.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for giving me this opportunity to be here. And also thank you very much to Honorable Minister Matai for inviting us and hosting our association in Sierra Leone this week. Before I answer your question, I'd like to share with you what the association is all about, how it started, where it's based, and some of its objectives. The association, the African Diamonds Producers Association, or acronym ADPA, is based in Rwanda. It was formed in 2006 through the signing of what is called the Rwanda Declaration. In that document, 18 African countries that are producing diamonds or had the potential to produce diamonds signed that agreement. And Sierra Leone is a founder member of ADPA, and it was there when ADPA was formed in 2006. What does ADPA do? It provides, or seeks to provide, a platform for African diamond producing countries so that they can cooperate, collaborate, and coordinate the diamond mining sector for sustainability and to ensure that the diamonds that are produced benefit communities in each of the countries that are there. I said 18 countries signed the agreement in 2006. As we speak today, the association is growing. We've just signed on our 21st member, the Republic of Mozambique. So the association now has 21 members. This week we have what is called the 10th ordinary meeting of the Council of Ministers of ADPA. The structure of ADPA is that we have the highest authority is the Council of Ministers, which provides the strategic guidance and manages the association. The Council of Ministers is made up of ministers of mines or any other ministry that is appointed by the respective government, but the majority are ministers of mines, and they form the Council of Ministers, which meets every year. So this year is the 10th ordinary meeting, which if it was a company, it would be the annual general meeting. Below the Council of Ministers, we have the Committee of Experts, who are a group of technical experts that are appointed by the respective governments. They are all senior government officials, and they provide recommendations and technical input to the Council of Ministers. And then below that, we have the Executive Directorate, and I am the Executive Director of that Directorate, which is responsible for day-to-day management of the association. So this week, the purpose of the meetings is the Executive Directorate. We will report to the Council of Ministers what we have been doing in 2024, and also provide some feedback on the implementation of resolutions from the Council of Ministers, also look at the budget, and so it's a very important week. As today we have a workshop on one of the biggest initiatives that ADPA has got, which is called the Sustainable Diamond Standard, which seeks to standardize the operations of mining in the different countries, but in support of responsible mining and sustainability.
Madam Ella Muchewa from the African Diamond Producers Association, and as I said earlier, welcome to Salou. We say Salou. Mr. Minister, before I open up for questions, I want to give you a chance to talk more about Mining Week. We don't just hear you say one of the biggest group of Minister of Mines on the continent. You don't mean your all kinds alone. The colleague ministers are there. This is a big week for the country. We get experts there on all kinds of mining sector, different kind of people from the sector there. So, what did the people of Salou expect? What did they install this week, and why this is important? This time we hold you to the 5 minutes.
Yes. But I have some 1 minute extra for just summarize with him and Ella talk. So Leone don't misunderstand, say I just go carry other African ministers and come. For the past 2 years, the ADPA organization we don't talk, we have the vice chairman. Every 2 years, we change chairmanship. The Minister of Mines at Zimbabwe we have the chairman, we have the vice chair. So this year, there are new opportunities for take over so that they can hand over the yard.
Mr. Chairman, congratulations.
Yes. So we are
chairman for ADPA.
For African Diamond Producers Association for the next 2 years. Wow. So me and Sierra Leone will stand so that they can hand over. So we'll be done with this. We decide say let's not do 2 separate events. Let's set up a mining week. We do it together. And these are the first in this. Now someone now we know the work ended the National University in 2013. They began a mining day. Whoever says whoever get mining week. For the one we know, May 2021 we do it Judith and launch Bitumani. But this time, with the progress President Julius Bill vision from 2018, we don't come and we don't see, as I say earlier, from $310 million worth of export to $1.6 billion a few years ago. We believe that we need for bringing people together and let them understand what we do. The theme for the mining week, when they run, as far as we're concerned from today, they end Saturday. Now, sustainable mining and shared benefits, bringing Sierra Leone's mineral wealth closer to its people. You don't talk a lot of misunderstanding about mining. So my colleagues that were to take over, Guinea, Liberia, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, Togo, Cameroon, Namibia, South Africa, Mozambique, we don't add, Tanzania, Central African Republic, Democratic Republic of Congo, they're all the part of this. They will get even observers. We now from Gabon, Russia, Algeria, Mali, the Mauritania, and we send Mozambique. Not so they all come, but majority come and send representatives. So we believe students will just can't get the ADPA meeting, but then they also can see how this your mining sector will work. So for that, we get exhibition. We get 2 days, 2.5 days for ADPA, and that will continue with the exhibition. We will get President, His Excellency President Joseph Building officially open on Thursday in the morning. Already the exhibition was set up. All the largest mining companies in the country did participate, but a few really go through challenges. So we bring in also the investors of these mining companies, not only one we did anymore. The one that really bring in media, politicians, policymakers, from everybody, including those who provide service-related, money-related services. So the banks, the insurance companies, they don't only provide exclusive, don't only provide catering, don't only provide security services. So there are opportunities for them. Australia by invitation, we've already said they're out for some time because we don't transform into money into something. We said actually this people in South Africa. We don't really raise the level. But now we do that. Plus you don't tell your story. Now that person can tell. Some of the things we just mentioned, the minister, we Mr. Kamrasi just mentioned. And you want to say this to people. The money comes in the because of the president, or they elect me, or because of the governance, or democracy, or the market school. They can purely for make money. That's the problem here. All mining entities are business. They are able to share with that. The first thing is to make money. And we, your job, now to make sure we create the right environment, let them make the money, and then make out the share with the government and the people who say benefit and grow. Maybe to the point who say they go to your like Mr. Kamara and Luna, who said we go with that budget in the mining sector. Because now only when the money stays in the country, we will develop. Some of the money will just when they go out, the lawmaker clear say for bring some back, will help with foreign exchange as well. So the more that people go, the better. So the mining week, we believe say that the first 10 days, the industry agencies will ever open to mines and minerals acted from beginning 1994 to 2009. Will bring this amount of exhibitors, sponsors. This is going to be followed by a lot of panel discussions for the people to really understand. We bring experts from abroad, experts from other ministries, departments, and agencies, and they encourage that consultants that will provide services to them mining companies all day for them to understand how they provide loan, how they structured, what also kind of money they put there. And we do that with the hope that by Friday, Saturday, we will close, we will get an outdoor concert as well in the car park of Beach Money. For make sure everybody come together. So not we just go see and listen, long technical presentations then. But also we want to make sorry for the language, mining very sexy. Because we don't bring a whole lot of people that do sex on young people. But we're not go to Colini. We don't get young women, and we want to bring women to mining as well. We're not engineers that don't can do internship with the enemy, elected engineers and the mining companies. So we want to bring mining very closer to the people, not only through panel discussions, also with my career, but then we'll shake body, we'll discuss, then we also put names to faces. If we don't want this minister and essential justice, we don't want this ambassador to the dance, we go see how the dance, how they actually do something at the mining sector. For still said about I'm not technical and I don't tell Mr. Bar, then time to get for dance, then we invite you. We want to make sure you will register. The exhibition is there and really encourage you. Now go see, and there are people on site, experts, and we connect ministers. We don't cancel the way we don't even say when they don't see something. They come for 2 days. We couldn't say the day we say Sunday. And the majority, more than half of them, of course, they didn't cancel. Madam Ella was sitting there saying, she's from Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is landlocked. I said, we have something that Zimbabwe never had. We are in money, you can look through the window and see the Atlantic Ocean. That's something you don't get in Botswana, you don't get in Zimbabwe. But one of the key things I just want to mention, we just mention, this thing here, what they do, like you report the community development funds, where the mining community they give to community. Then a few months ago, we go on a bar, they give $3.75 million. Next week, we go next week Tuesday. They said they will give money to the communities. So we get community development funds. Then mining district areas and we said they don't benefit from them. We get mining development, district development fund. So at Abeguna, all the questions they want to get looking answer on there. But if we come, that means money we get the whole sector. The whole book set up Ministry of Mines and Mineral Resources and the National Minerals Agency. We said the story matter expandedly for continue for engaging dialogue. And we said today for explain to her. The more we understand each other, the better. And I think we're proud of you and the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would just want to add, say, the minister talk about me dancing talent. I will tell her, say, this minister, he get plenty of other talents there. We are not going to announce now for security reasons. But I will see a display of the Minister of Mines. But the evening concert, that doesn't require registration or that in our
evening concert open door consult. First come, first serve.
Alright.
During the week, we know you can attend, we register, we give you a wristband registered, then we get something available that day because for security reasons and other stuff.
Wonderful.
So do when I make sure say when I register, when I see advertisement all around, if you don't go the day, go in and register.
Yes.
Go
We don't share the ministry, don't share that as well. Okay. We don't hear a lot. We get about 30 more minutes, and today again we stick to the time. So now I want to ask questions. I want to see the people that will ask questions. All my will ask questions. I want to see all the admin of 1 second. Because we don't pass easy. So good. Monday after still. Alright. Today we start over here. They will go over here. So una wait. I don't see now. Una wait in here. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. We'll take one out to 6. We'll take all 6 together. We'll keep them straight to the point, please. So we'll take all. Please, panelists, will take notes. I will let know answer. Go on.
Yes, Mr. Minister, Mina, Obodan Kamara, right from New Citizen newspaper. Since you don't serve as director of NNA, I want to know community development agreement, because based on the Mines and Minerals Agency Act of 2022, it clearly states it will be public. But we don't deal with any mineral right to access the information for the past 6 months for a certain mining company, the community.
Call the name, you say access information.
For a particular right to access information, I don't know now right to access information with a particular mining company forget their own result. So the question here I want to know is the FG Gold Mining Company, the 300 million or so are starting to be corrected, export where they make, right?
Well, let know.
Yeah, now they are starting to be corrected.
Yes.
I want to know, they're still in prospecting stage or they don't complete that?
Good question.
And lastly, the community development fund, the agreement, community development agreement, because based on the act again, they will pay 1% on a yearly basis. Every gold mining company, they don't pay the for 2023, 2024. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 2. Let me be here for clarify. Yes, boss.
Mohammed Konen I work plenty as a financial secretary for Sierra Association of Journalists and also for Media One. Mr. Minister, you talk about the amount of money where the mining sector, which is around 1.2 billion or so, and 58 or 60 million campaigns salon. Is it worth it for the amount of environmental destruction that's sure will take place? That's just one. And also, the Minerals Development Act of 2022, when you placed it, Mines and Minerals Act of 2009, is under review, waiting there to that review. And finally, the community agreement, CDA, community development agreement, CDA. One example I would cite has to do with the money we Manapal mines in the last time. Some around 38 billion euros. Looking at the development for take place in the various communities, waiting at the monitoring aspect of what happened compared to the time development, the amount of money, I will compare them to them this time.
Thank you. Number 3, quickly, please.
Yes, sir.
If you are not repeating again, we will ask.
No, sir, we have the right for exclusive. Mr. Minister, recently, Energy Ministry held a press conference in which alleged, mining activities within the Duna lakes of form. They don't disrupt the Bumbuna electricity, waterway, the Guna and the dam. Una as a ministry, which you will do for ensure you stop the award of license to people that will mine along that lakes of money. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. Next, number 4.
Yes. Bidemna Mahmoud Sila from the Nature newspaper. The question goes to Minister of Mines. Mr. Minister, I understand say the ministry now set up an environmental management unit. I want to follow the activities of that environmental management unit, what they have been doing in terms of policy formulation.
Thank you. Yes.
Good afternoon.
Jaffa.
Nina Jaffa Manzidis from New Democracy. Minister of Mines, they talk about putting names to faces, but I want to take you back to the when we get President Leone been to mine this conference. Yes, so President will talk about how we will begin to mining tourism. And I bet we told you by the way we don't call it that. Past people will know but math and we say people number, now go for appreciate some of them number today. But if you not have the value of waiting certain mineral be like, for example, when you go diamond, waiting a diamond value you don't go for appreciate some of them number the way also. So the question is, what are the ministry efforts with regards to President's statement about mining tourism for make citizens of this country able to know about some of the products they will get?
Jaffa, that question, the name they could do mining week. Okay, go on. Yes, last one.
Tara Wakaname, Concord Times newspaper. Mr. Minister, you start off your statement with issue of illegal mining, saying a very challenging way mining communities face. And when you look at the district of Leone, and you also look at the district of Tombolili, among other districts, the issue of illegal mining, not very, very pervasive. I mean, they're all about. So the question that what did the country they lose as a result of illegal mining? 90%. Secondly, perhaps most importantly, the issue of the holding. Talk to me about the current state of the issue of the holding. Thank you.
Wow, thank you. So we get very good questions. Mr. Minister, you're very popular. We go to us to finish at 3:30. So all the questions are basically now you. Get the question there. I think so you don't take notes, so man always time for repeats. You go ahead. Yes. If you miss anyone, I will remind you. Go ahead.
Well, thank you very much for those questions. The first question from Mr. Kamara and new citizens about FG Gold. First, read the statement that says FG Gold will spend over $300 million more and projected to spend over $500 million for developing the line. We give FG Gold the license about 3 years ago. You know what we give license, you go through stages. You know what to call mine development. Anybody not placing mine inside, go see the kind of thing that we did it. You know, you get processing plants, you get machinery, you get your power station, you get maintenance, you get geology department, HR, you get utility sport, a whole lot. So now we can say a lot of sunken costs. So you get money with the poor. So now that they do. FG will not go into production yet, and mine development. And just for clarify, you see, the community development agreement, you only begin paying, contribute to the community development fund when you go into production. And the law make it clear that 1% of your gross revenue of previous year. So even if FG Gold starts last quarter in 2026, they're not going to pay any CDF, they're not contribute to our project in 2028 because they go down the testament for 2027, they can take 1% of the gross turnover and pay. So like that. So coming on, you just realize you begin paying community development or fund. And of course, the community development agreements now between the primary host community and the mining companies. Basically, they are involved into it. They get committee, they set community development committee, the steering group will deal with that. So that makes it clear. Not just go see mining company begin develop the mining share for PCDF. Now, only way to go into production. You don't export 1% of your previous year gross revenue. Now from that you pay First, that money at 0.01%. Under President Julius leadership, we revised the Mines and Minerals Development Act. We don't make it to at least 1%. As I mentioned, when we go Marapa, that be $3.7 million. They pay for 2 years. The year before that, that be 1.7. Kiko said they don't go pay 20 billion, all money that they pay 56 billion. I will believe this year will double because of the total export. So they know that Vanilla Chief now way FG go operate, then they develop the mine, and after break on it, they finish the mine development, then they go into production. The second question, Mr. Mohamed Kone,
The question say whether it's worth it considering the returns on the way the country they get and the effect on the environment. If because they do 1.something billion, we get 60-something billion. Is this worth it? Considering the effect on the environment.
When we undertake mine, we also can apply for many licenses. They get criteria where they meet. If they go you mine plan, if they go you community development agreement, we look at your financial model. Then also if we do environmental impact assessment, we basically the environment protection agency, we at which the mining sector is very important. If we look at the balance between the environment, the socio-economic benefits, and particularly cost benefit analysis, for ask yourself, say, okay, you go mine at this place, that will say what are the maybe some forest day. Waiting at the mitigation measures the way we take for actually avoid, if not to avoid behind the management. So there's a study where they look at the balance, whether it worth it, and when they do that, they get for the license. So if the EPA don't do your license, it means they don't do your assessment, they don't look at your environmental and socio-economic footprint, and balance them, and go ahead and look at it worth it. And then work in conjunction with we say that the mining sector, that financial model we don't come with. We look at your payback period, look at your net present value, we look at the other cost of debt and other stuff. So most times when we don't get license, it's worth it. But as a human being, we have to find that balance between those with the favor of mining and those who are for the environment. At the end of the day, which we want, this mineral resource we cannot give me. Not only the mineral, whether in water, whether in a beach, whether in the air, whether in the forest. Man must live and man must balance the activities and information so not to bring future generation or them benefits the day. So for me, anyone who don't get license with a mine is worth it because we don't work with other government, ministry departments, and agencies. We don't do full assessment, especially EPA for say the environmental degradation footprint is worth it. And most times, what did happen? Whether they get a license, you get what you call environmental social management plan. So if you don't even avoid, you come with a plan for sure this. That's how you are dealing with the regulatory agencies. They continue for monitor and we don't know for rehabilitate and inclusion plan. So I think it's worth it. That's the answer. Question number 3.
What's the reason for the review and how agreement?
No question number 3 was about the press conference. If I remember, question number 3 was about press conference with the Ministry of Environment, Energy about Nexon Forum. What has the MM done to stop award of license? Okay. Yeah? Mm-hmm. Again, areas that we're very sensitive in terms of wetlands. We don't need license inside lake or areas that are protected. If you go the NMA website, if you go to the ministry, the NMA, they get the mining industrial administrative system, and they get the areas departments. We don't map all sides that areas of wetlands or they get forest reserve or get protected areas. We will work together with EPA for ensuring where we get license, we will need to go grant proofing, we don't have to coordinate. That's enough for the areas that have been marketed either to be sensitive or pay, signatory to so many protocols, conventions, and treaties that we don't go against those. So what will happen at some point area is rather unfortunate. We get problem. Where they go in areas. Again, let me make this clear. Why would the user turn illegal and illicit and think I don't bring this? We get people with the license. Genuinely. We don't say this and make some point for the day. But then you don't go beyond the boundary. You get license. So it's not illegal. But if you go beyond that boundary and do things that are not correct, that's basically like illicit mining. They take care of the environment. They take care of other commitments. They will get the one the way illegal. We don't get license at all. So then they go do things then. And sometimes they get people who are illegal, they don't get license, but when they don't do something, they cover it. They get people who get license, if they don't do something, they lock it. I can always give, say, I'm sorry for the example I can always give. There is no law where they say marijuana for Gafia. No, so marijuana. Illegal, like illicit. Then they got illicit affair. No law there. But if you go to a morally and ethically not correct. So that the same thing, what you license, you get license, you don't worry with man. You know illegal. So that one they get license. They do illicit things then. Yeah? Then the one that they basically, of course, we don't get people from that environment and that is not correct. So when it's about the type of distinction between illegal miners and illicit miners. Yeah? So what's the happen? Some fun unfortunate, now a combination EPA, we don't do multiple rates, they don't have people like you see, they bomb, you don't dress them, but people that stick and there most times, Chinese man don't come on China, you go find an now some fun. Somebody don't escort and go there. We don't listen to what I feel. Now the smallest one there, you go see Chinese man, you see, and a man them, how they get there? The chief don't know, section chief don't know, town chief don't know, the people they don't know. We don't go on rates, now like some funny area. Before you reach there, they will not disappear. Before you come back next day, they don't go. We don't care policeman and the man they go. We'll go left them. Let's say without knowledge, they look their own team. So it's a tough one, but they still try to address that. The fourth question.
Environmental management units.
Yes.
We
don't ever set the environmental management unit in the Ministry of Mines. Earlier, as I take the institution set up, the Ministry of Mines, and the supervisory body, and the Ministry of the political wing of the mining sector. So we now only formulate policies. So things like environmental management unit was set up at NMA so that you can get environmental health and safety officer when they work with the inspector of mines. So the NMA that they get at a young job and for work with EPA or other statutory bodies, they'll say they get for measure radiation on site, they'll say they get for measure water level or air quality, so that they do that. And every report where EPA they do, they share that with them. So that's how we work collaboratively, not to have the ministry, of course they can cascade to read the summaries. So those units are set up at the NMA, where the technical and professional wing will support the ministry.
What do we lose from illegal or illicit mining?
Yes, I think number 5, not about native
one about mining tourism.
Yes, town hall, mining tourism, the value of diamonds, people they don't know, and what do they do for the people to understand this product. As far as I just preempt me, the reason why we do this, now for the people that see, for NMA, every directorate of mines, geological, so they don't set booth, they don't go to all criminals in the raw form. So man, the way you see this at box, I see this aluminium, and from this box, I will see an dirty. So man, the way you go and buy, you say, hey, the iron and black, or I go to Kolili, na brown dirty. So we don't put them all on display. Purposely for that kind of education, then the minister will discuss several about civic education. Let people let them go see. The Department for Precious Minerals Trade don't set up. They do. You will not see diamond. How they assess and go see in terms of the carat, color, clarity, and cut. Gold and silver, they on display. So you will get gold ring where they don't give you. You don't know so that they will test that for free. You will also get one fake gold diamond. Count you one. We'll test that. We'll tell them that it's not real diamond. But wait, you can be careful. Yeah. So all that they will on display. When they talk about, last time they said they don't do geophysical survey, all man what they didn't know. When they show say how they do drilling, what are the core sample, how they take that core, till they go realize how much iron ore they inside and ready for do evaluation. Then the final question, if I was number 6.
The rules for illicit mining and then coin holdings.
Yeah. Coin holdings rather unfortunate thing happen in the sense that coin has been reversed here from 2005, the African Force has branch energy. They said they don't go to stay during Ebola, during COVID. As I've said, at one time, they were responsible for nearly 80% of total export from this country. Now, we said they're responsible for about 12. They get workforce of nearly 1,000, so you're limited to 1,032. We don't see they get labor issues. We all get ministry. The minister bring with her because they're responsible for information and civic education, but we don't overlap. Okay? So we have Ministry of Labor, Social Security, they begin with workforce issues. When I know that we get industrial activity, we get collective bargaining and the mining side. So there was a disagreement over pay issues. I think Mr. Rado is the best person to talk about those issues. But normally, we collaborate and compare notes because In the Mines and Minerals Act, we get one section where they deal with health and safety and welfare. But when it comes to push it further, that ministry doesn't have the right one to deal with that. So when I don't say a lot of things on social media, some things are going to, all man gets your opinion, but at the background we engage. The government they try to engage for you, they engage workers, especially the operation for technical operational reasons. If not for other issues in an emergency, to which we don't say in an emergency because 4.5 weeks, people are not going to work. We are not going to visit on the ground mine. You don't know. You don't almost go like nice story down. Yeah? You get told there's water in the camp every day and you pull water every day. And if the left relative flood because they're not getting enough manpower on an emergency, but they will still manage the process of experts or local staff say, oh, can you leave for manage? So we said they don't reach that, they say that they lost between $6 to $8 million and they don't lost. So they don't get enough manpower for operation, so they don't write to it as the Ministry of Mines. They don't submit all the documents necessary by law for them to assess. So they do that assessment now. At the same time, that's why we still try to engage the workers then for salary will come to a dialogue because it's a compromise. What are they are, including we don't want pay rise. What are they are, some of the allegations that they don't come with, you don't send a joint team of ONS, labor, environment, local government, they don't go investigate, they don't do preliminary report. Some of the allegations, we're still investigating. But Musa is very critical for the economy of the country. There's no production currently from the diamond sector. When you don't stop, maybe they go through some financial agreement, see right, we give the last payment in 2 years, we make the process for council. If they don't meet all the obligations, several diamond, Natongo, we know. They don't know, now over 10 months, they don't pay the workers themselves. They don't almost abandon the site. Now they try to get other investors for coming in. The way you look at Tonguma instead of the work. So the diamonds industry, as Mr. Kamal will say, when money no they can look. Because you produce something, say it costs you $10 for produce something, but you don't sell $3. Nobody, just look. So we deal with that. But let's just make this clear. Care and maintenance don't mean say you don't lock completely. It means you don't produce, but you get essential staff to take care of your machineries and operations. And we really hope that one day you will come out of care and maintenance and go into production. Again, you mentioned if you left by that, the price go down and other cost factors that can really affect you. Most times, 7 out of 10 companies are not going to care and maintenance. No, they come out of it. And with most companies that from our experience, that this is what they try for avoid. Company cannot go into care and maintenance. Most of them they go declare bankrupt, so they go into liquidation. That's even for paying end of service benefits. Then they will go to the administrators of liquidators. We see what's happening in a lot of mining. We see what's happening in African minerals. But with we the government, it's not good because 12% contribution. I mean, when you take 2023, the total export from Sierra Leone is not just mining no more. Total export from Sierra Leone, the mining sector for the past 3 years, it did between 80 and 85%. And if we get 12% of 1.12 billion, yeah, you only produce. The other say at least around 20 million no more. They're very worried because that money they did, when they pay 6.5%, royalty. Then the pay that means that the community development fund of about 184 million. And then money they come in, they take pay salary, they build schools, they build hospitals. So we don't want that situation. We will work behind the scenes. So now when they feel say that's not the goal, we work with labor, we work with chief minister, we work with his excellency, we work with the local communities at the back end because negotiations not to discipline. We said we want that we people benefit from these mineral resources, but in the process, there is shared commitment and shared responsibility. And this government will not say a responsible government. His Excellency President Leone not take this thing easy. So, but we try all the best. Where will they get this kind of thing? It's rather unfortunate to get African Diamond Producers Association, the largest diamond producer not doing it because they get industrial disputes. But that's not the end. We believe so that investors will come. You never know to our because we are used to take to my level.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Minister. So now just say the time at 3:27. We mean say we not even meet the that we don't promise to ask them and get a chance to ask questions. And today we get editor there and senior people over there. So I want to beg you to please give us maybe another 10-15 minutes. Let's take all the questions that we can. We'll do one more round, you respond and then we'll leave.
Well, I have to forgive in 2 hours.
Okay. So this side now. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6 on that side. So we have 6 questions as well here. We don't answer your question.
I would love to respect the stage with say, and NMA, why not giving the non-confidential information?
No. Wait. On the question of the right to access information, there are procedures. Wait. Don't ask now, let answer. You know the argument, so you don't ask. But I'm married black guy, so I don't want to access information. I just said the minister will respond to you on the second point. There are steps you must take. If the institution, MDA in question, fail, the right to access information commission get the power. I know this because they're under the ministry. We tell them we don't rights, we don't submit two rights to access information. Let us follow up on those. For the side we don't fail, the right to access information commission necessarily will reach out to her and then we will follow up. That is absolute. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you.
No.
Please. Please.
Okay.
Let me say this.
We'll let you.
The community development committee, and the problems committee, they form within the CDC, community development committee, and they get the steering group, they get all that document. If you write to them, if you put it in any community, the CDC or the steering committee will make that available. Then I will not believe that we will not kill the director of public communications here. So NMA will set up so many systems. If you actually go to any website, all the mining agreements they need, but because the community development agreement and the CDC gets out, just write to any CDC, you have it. Now public document.
Also, let ask one more thing. Listen. Hold on. Please. We're not beginning this so that way we do so. Please, never again. I really like you. You ask good questions, you're thorough. I really like you. I make an ambition to you. You know me. So let's keep it this way. You have legitimate questions. You have a right to information. I want commit to you now say after this best stuff, we can't argue to get an answer. And information around you. So the letter will be sent to right to access information. Ping a copy to the ministry and make a public commitment now say and follow up with both NMA and the right to access information for make sure the information you ask with an agreement that is public information you will get out. Deal? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I just want to answer my question to you.
Consider natural.
The way agreement made that Botswana with only one diamond today is equated to the world like where we borrow money to develop our culture. The also agreement made that Rwanda where it comes from it's one country in Africa when most of the republic has an aeroplane money that comes from South Angola for the diamonds. And it's one of the most beautiful cities in Africa, Angola, Rwanda. What would you advise? We have 8 or 6 or 7 or 8 minerals in Leone. Angola is fastly developed. Botswana is fastly developed. We here for the past, we're going to 64 years of independence. We've got quite a lot of changes in government, of policies in the same mineral sector. Comparatively, how much is this? The average Botswanian is living socio-economically more sustainable than that of Switzerland and where you have 8 minerals. What would you advise us most to do? Right? What policies will our doctors do? Or will our national policies on the mineral sector break this silence? Thank you.
Thank you. All right, number 2, let's go. We're out of time.
Voice of Salon Radio. And Mr. Minister of Mines,
And we don't see blank profit based on mining activities in this country. I'm taking you back and remember the life of the African mineral where they began the issue of where we are. Now to the question. The people of the Leone Chief Dominant of Kolegi Street, we see we are in a stage of protest of mining activities we want to go on. How can we manage between the mining sector and that of the community based on conflict resolutions? And how can we also keep them informed about mining activities that we want to go in the community? Thank you.
Thank you. Number 3.
Good afternoon. Leone and the question to the minister. Most times the contention when they give the mining companies there are 10 years or more, it stands to be corrected. At the end of those 10 years, what do the people in the community can benefit and what don't take the benefits?
Thank you. Yes, next.
Yeah, Mr. Minister, about Coronanzo, I write for the Global Times. I want to know how we can guard against conflict of interest in terms of cancellation of licenses and how this can lead to litigations, and you can provide us details of the outcome of some of them litigations in recent past.
Minister, you gave enough detail on that question? Yeah. Okay. We're not experts, so it sounded a very general question to me, but the man we are experts in India enough, so go ahead.
I'm able to read. Care Times newspaper. Thank you very much, Mr. Minister, and congratulations on your new position as chair. Few things, including pollution of water from millions mining companies will affect the community. To the compliance of social corporate responsibility with companies, how much will it affect with regards to corporate social responsibility in terms of development at community level. And then the efforts for complement feed salon, considering these large-scale miners. How much will it complement President Bio in feed salon for discourage large-scale miners when they affect agriculture and that of mining? Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Final question.
Thank you very much, Mr. Donald. First of all, I want to take this opportunity to welcome our lady to Sierra Leone and the rest of the ministers who will be here. And I pray that you succeed in what you are here for, not just coming to Sierra Leone as tourists. It's a beautiful country. Don't go by the wind and come as tourists. Having said that, let me just ride on Mr. Kamara's back. That Sierra Leone has started, we started mining in the 30s, 1930, and there's little to show for it. And like to harmonize your policies so that you'll be able to benefit like other countries are benefiting from diamond mining and other minings. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Excellent questions. I think we'll start with you. You have the first and the last question. First question was whether you have any particular advice to offer to Sierra Leone to help us take advantage of our mineral resources. As the question alleges, claims, other countries have done successfully, especially Angola and Botswana. So, are there lessons we can learn that you can offer us any advice? And then secondly, I think in your capacity as ADPA, what plans you have to harmonize laws and legislations across these different countries to support us as well to take advantage of our mineral wealth. So we'll go to you first to respond to these two questions, and then the minister will come. I'll also give Mr. Kamara a chance to say a few things about what he thinks we need to do to make us get more from our mining sector. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you very much for the very good question. And the second one on harmonization of the policies. I am going to answer the two questions together, but hopefully address the questions. One of our objectives, which I didn't mention in my earlier discussion, is that the association promotes the adoption of harmonized legal solutions between member states in areas related to the whole value chain for mining, exploration, mining, cutting, and trade in diamonds. And I must say I will focus on diamonds because the association is like the lithium or rutile or iron ore, but the principles are the same. So that's one of the objectives for the association, with the vision countries to share, to collaborate, to cooperate in sharing best practice to ensure that what is working in one country can be transferred to another country. And you can only do that if you are working together, you are cooperating rather than competing. And I believe that our association is doing that. This meeting this week for the association is the first one in Sierra Leone, which marks the takeover of Sierra Leone, the leadership of the association. We're going to be coming back for the next 2 years, and we do look forward to Sierra Leone's leadership in responding to not only the challenges for Sierra Leone, but for all the 21 countries in the association, ensuring that enough to respond to the challenges like currently the markets for diamonds are depressed, and we have a challenge with synthetic diamonds or lab-grown diamonds. The geopolitics around the world does affect the pricings and the markets for diamonds. So I hope that addresses the two questions.
Excellent, thank you very much. Mr. Minister, one question we come online to now. The cost of this convening and whether they cover the cost. You might need to be clear, sir. So I just want to add that in as you guys well.
Thank you very much for that question. As Minister of Mines, you know, two people that they compare Sierra Leone to Botswana every time we talk about diamond. Even these days, where I think another place in the park, and they ask me. But I can always say, you know, crocodile and kuno de fiba. No, so, okay, same leg, same tail, these will be so one for that. And mining volumes, efficiency counts a lot. Last year, even Kwedu, even when they were on the peak, they did up to about 650,000 carats of export. 2023, Botswana, now over 20 to 25 million carats in the export. Yeah? For which they generate about $5.7 billion. We will generate that ending at the 103. Okay? Botswana, in terms of volume, value, that they get the best diamond. The largest producers. Alright? Now only one underground large scale we get all these years. Because we are the state camp to cooperate. Kwedu, they do open gas until later now in 2012, that's why in 2017, they actually transitioned underground. Even though they mine, you know, this small because the tube was so they're only 4 to 5 years. Botswana, you know, when you look from 1966 after they get independence, from Musa they don't come out. The beers, they work with them. They get a joint venture called the Botswana. The value addition, not only they mine, they cut, they polish, they trade. Alright? Sierra Leone, from what we get, we act in 2017. Then from what we get in 2012. We don't say we cut it in polishing at all when we talk. And I think one of the biggest differences, Botswana, they get this, what we call artisanal mining scale license. Sierra Leone, 30. In fact, from what they made the same increase, we only 2,000 artisanals. Right now, number 645. Because most of them, you know, artisanal are restricted to 1 square kilometer. 50 meters by 50 meters, enough for more than 10 meters deep. Then a shovel, normally for use of this machine. So productivity, you know, Botswana, they get one of the biggest mines there. The quality okay, they get machines and what they wait itself. So how they compare, now be careful. Right now, the issues of lab-grown diamonds, when they don't mention, they are affected seriously because that's what they are open. The good thing is, as alone, you don't get lab-grown iron ore or lab-grown bauxite. So we have hope for us, not to continue to produce. But then also knows in the beer when they help them. You know, say the beer's been in this country. Yeah, in the 50s, when the empowerment money began and the consolidated selection trust. Till later, in the late 70s, SLST, for partnership with the government of Sierra Leone, get 51%. They will set a GMC. We left Sierra Leone, they all go, not your day. Botswana, they put it against with the Popular Fund, the Bank of Botswana, and the government, Bank of Ministry of Finance and Management well. So now be careful how we compare. Now go to this other question. I will say the land coverage, which is happening in Leone to Kolili, how they manage activities when they protest the communities. I can always say this, 2 things. When you get reality like this, the expectation is that they diverge. You'll be one of the most unhappy and most violent person because your reality expectation will match. I don't talk about that. Mining comes in the kind of force aid and coming money. So we can consider a fair balance and make sure we get good agreement. We also work for the people of Sierra Leone. So what did happen? Some people that they politicize you, they go promise. They go talk to mining company, we mention the kind of good promise, that's what they build school, they build hospital, they do all of this. Raise the community expectation. Then the mining companies where they can make for balance and look. First normally, first 4 or 5 years, you really make money. You just did bill, you do this. Then that's how the people that expect you to say, the same other company don't care in the bill $1 billion worth of money, the same money they wanted. So the community get heightened. So one of the things they do is civic education, I think we go for education. Let people really understand the mining processes. Several we talk of STEM. You understand, eh? In fact, STEM, agriculture, and so for mining, let people understand say there's reconnaissance, there's exploration, there's mine development before you go into production. Even when you don't do, you get for closing another manner, all that cost money. So we always get conflict resolution mechanism set in place through the NLA. We also work with the local government. We also work with civil societies as well as other NGOs for make sure say waiting the people deserve, they get up. That the make sure say reality expectation at least they match. Almost always impossible. Then the third one, 10 years concession. Actually, when we give mining license for large scale, that's 25 years. 25 years of period. We, of course, small scale, for 4 years, then renewal. Artisanal normally in 1 year, so they all get different permission. But then we give it to large scale. Now for 25 years. And which will they do for the benefit?
Just say the community, the
benefit after they don't lock. Every mining company, we can solve it for license. We also call mine closure plan. So not for sell and can mine, you also get for telling me how they plan for them. Unfortunately, you can get to normally we call plan closure, then the way the resource not done, you begin then on, they get unplanned. Like it's always going to happen. London mining, African minerals, they just get from them in the rush. So that one they left some few things there. So when they try to work with the EPA and NMA, closely, for make sure say even they get bonds, insurance, say if something happen, you go unplanned. How they will take that money to rehabilitate the community. But the community in the second for do well when the mining community they operate. For example, we open a Sierra Leone. I just have something here from 1885. If you go to a hotel, that anybody familiar with more by time area, if you look where they begin mine, Nababa Belebu, the Bumo, Prejubu West, the Longo Bani, the Longo, you know, all these areas of Bokulu. If you go watch around there, you get piles of sand, white sand, clean sand. Yeah? Here we will take this sand. We don't take for years. Why would they that years? And remember, everybody uses sand for the big house. Then when we don't see them pond, massive bodies of water, what are they? Sand did. Not far from there, we get Mokanji and Gundama. Then say the laterite. You know, say this laterite, some people they cut and they build bricks. So if you mix and 3 things a day, you get perfect brick factory. Where you will take this food all at once, so not to the mighty people we rely on. Then when they're so massive, so they don't say for 47 years, you can proper agriculture. Like you see, man, they go in small body, put tilapia inside. Look at massive water bodies. So the communities they make sure they articulate their dreams, their aspirations to them when they come in, and let them involve in that. So that when they come in, knock, they get something for you. The colleague we just mentioned, the one big determinant for them when they come in stay or not to democracy, not to tax regime, and price. The moment that price goes down, a cost of produce more than you sell. Now not the long people. Whether they let you, whether you say democracy there, whether you say peace there, then they can be. So the communities themselves, therefore they engage them, or let them say, look, when I will go to a colleague very soon for that disbursement, we go Marampa, 3.7 million, so the community not also receive from me money. Every time they get money, first they may cut barrier.
Okay, standards.
Exactly. So we have to work with them. We want to mind the community, work with the people, let them know what they want. Because when they get money, the money so good that I nobody they argue. They don't spend 1 whole year arguing amongst themselves. Yeah, rather than really work. Because if somebody be say, you know, the mindset, they rather be small, cause barrier, pity, host, you know, you don't. So we have to work on that. Global times. How for conflict interest in cancellations of license. You know, what you do license, the law make it very clear, how the cancellation will go. We don't just cancel because you can't they don't let you. There's a process. We will get license. The money companies, they get rights, they get obligations. And their right, they will be protected. So, there are various reasons why we cancel. One of the ones that we really joke with, we don't even go through too many processes and we don't pay license. As I speak, we get 29 last scale mining license, 29. Only 6 days production. 11 day development. Within the process, we try for cancel about 6. Because of the lights in our million, they don't even pay safe. You know, people like you can invest older man and invest all this good investor. After they don't do, as I said last year, my investments, now they instruct so tell the financiers, why is that we don't promise they say 100 million, so you have to the internet say no, not 1 million. We get 21 small scale and 14 exploration license. That's quite a lot. But most of it going to meaningful production yet because of all those kind of challenges. So when they cancel the license, when they write to you, when they do monitoring, every now and then through NMA, they go see, they get mine inspectors, they get last year mining manager, they get statutory obligations, they get forms they ready, you know, when they get to NMA, we also get NMA, get people embedded in the mine inside the day and then they leave. You want to say, no, you don't see the export is not so true. We get a lot of qualified young men and women we don't take. So we don't meet all, when they write to you again, when they try to also go, but you might help them for them to do the right things right, because they don't put a lot of money. So they like avoid it. Some later they just abandon, you know. But before they abandon, they don't pay. When they take that thing, they will get as advisory board, made up of 16 board members from the AG office to the finance, to environment, to local government, to the paramount chiefs. So they look at all of those, look at the reasons why you don't perform, and they will give you a chance to also forgive at least 30 days for remedy. Yeah, you preach. What don't try that you don't even again. Will they take again another further action based on the plans they will give you? Whether not able, then will they seek opinion from the AG's office? Will still have the better local body, the minerals and rights body feedback, then they make recommendations to the Minister of Mines. Then the Minister of Mines will look at all the evidence ready before them. Yeah, they're unfortunate with background in mining and geology. So even the recommendations that they make necessarily investigate. Whether they don't find that work, of course, because of the ramifications of cancellations on the economy and other sectors, we only engage, we bring that to His Excellency or the Cabinet for them to fully understand, get the right full council. So, we need to just cancel that. Conflict of interest, that depends how you define that. He always tell people they want to define conflict of interest when I go check Anti-Corruption Act, how they define that. Like, here's some people like say, Minister, they say they want consulting company, so just cancel. not true. When I go say that before, so professionalism is a very important thing to know when for actually separate what you do, and the public officer didn't abuse that. So, and I think there was one more.
The question about fit salon.
Yes, fit salon. Yeah. You see, severally, the first literature already see, if you don't say, mining, alternative life, agriculture, alternative livelihood. But we consider mining a complementary. If you look at the Customer and Land Rights Act, where they deal with land, then it's very clear for saying where you get loan with for advisor. They say when they give land for agricultural mining, for the 110,000 hectares, within 100 square kilometers. But mine did not say who give last in 125. So they try for create that. But then we forget land use map, and at least an inventory will show which land fertile for agriculture, which land fertile for mining. Unfortunately, we all of us we say almost all get to be which will bring to the forest today. That most of the mining today. Because we get what we call normally, geology, relationship between the vegetation and within the minerals, the minerals where the plants and the feed off. So like when you look, Gory Hills, Kangaroo Hills, Sula Mountains, you look at the hills and all of those. So we have to find that balance between the one and the and the fit salon. So we believe so with the economic mining companies then, as part of the corporate social responsibility. I'm sure I won't tell them the only company will get agricultural development fund. Then they do so experimental places and that will be more remote area. It came out successfully. Most of the way that they develop when they reclaim the land, then they undertake cash crop cultivation. And we don't actually work, try to engage in the Ministry of Agriculture to let them work with it directly, so that not for the go be mosque, not for the go be church no more, or for the go football field, but let them also feed it to the big five. So that discussion is ongoing, and through the enemy they work on that. And I think
Mr. we left one day because I want to give the representative from the Chamber of Mines, Mr. Ibrahim Soy Kamara, a chance for them just to say we briefly what's at the role of the Chamber of Mines. And with this conversation we don't the cost of this and also the money they come out.
For the entire mining week in the ADPAC, Corona statutory bodies, through the Ministry of Finance, we get some amount to allocate, we already discussed on that. But the permission through the Cabinet and the Ministry of Finance is what's that.
Oh, by the way, you as a journalist, if you want that information, you get rights for that.
Exactly, but we didn't discuss on that because we get permission to follow the Public Finance Management Act. Then at the same time, now we don't see flyers, we put those flyers right to the mining companies, since one of the guy exhibit. So we actually put sponsorship and exhibition fees. Why is, if you want to go see the booths then, we don't ever see kind of salon and the challenging one. If you go to the Tumani, anybody who is like I put on this salon before, I ready for $1,000. Yes. And
provide evidence. So
provide evidence and that kind of put away and who don't put them into money. They don't be like a salon. The exhibition. Out of the personal money.
Okay,
so then put a day that is sponsors them, that they don't pay for them, we allow somebody to bill them, the same thing for decorate them. So that sponsorship money there, we tell them, so we don't want money in cash. If we want to get with them, we're not going to provide it for you. So that's what the everyone don't do, but it costs. Again, one level that go judge for ourselves, we don't do quality, we don't go judge for ourselves. After that, hopefully we'll get another conversation. What we can limit, how much will it cost? But $1,000 challenge,
a public challenge. Mr. Kamara, please. Just evidence. What's your evidence? I mean, I'm the judge. And I will say, me and the man. I'm from what kind of kid? With me. With I mean, I'm the judge. Me and Kitty. I'm the old kid. So we're going to get evidence. Can't see the kid first. You understand it? Then we'll discuss. Yes. The new books, also the one we use for the festival with the beginning. Kiddy Master, good. Mr. Kamara, so before we go, you represent the Chamber of Mines now. I want to just tell family what's in the Chamber of Mines the whole, and then any comments we get, all the conversation we about waiting una as the people who in the sector will like foresee for let the sector be transformed. Go do 2 quick minutes and then we'll wrap up here.
All right, thank you very much, Minister. The Sierra Leone Chamber of Mines originally established in 1965, but as a result of the war, as we all know, everything collapsed, so that was the end of it at that time. Wait till we get some, now wait till we call the second iteration of the chamber. In 2014, we may revitalize them, but then just after that, we get COVID again, so we go back in slumber. But on the 11th, as part of established for we look out for the members there. But we see ourselves beyond just an interest group. We see ourselves as partners in development because we own conception of the kind of relationship we get with government. We think it's what you made, it's a private-public partnership. Governments get the resources and then we come with the funds for there we can develop the assets today. And so collectively, now we develop the assets and we share the benefits. So on top of the game for the longest time. Now, I mean, a lot of interesting discussions. I think the more I listen to this, the more I think these sort of sessions very, very important for let people they understand a bit more about the sector. You say, what do we need for let we get more as a country? I think we need for increase the size of the cake. If you get a cake this size, and then the number of people who want it from this cake, they can only get so much. But if the cake in size increase, then waiting and they get the increase. The ministers put them nicely. Mining companies come here for kind of invest. I will tell you now, mining, for example, will invest about $200 million. The revenue we don't generate to date is about $40 million. You do the math. But then, at this point, as we talk, we are still looking to still go into full commercial production. So we are not even still there yet. Imagine somebody don't put $200 million, into a project, and they still not get it to forget. So that is the reality of mining. The numbers are big. Sometimes we then call numbers and they will be surprised. But those are the numbers within the mining sector. What we need is to attract even more investors. I'm speaking now as a Sierra Leonean. For let we able to get more from these mining sectors, we need more investors, credible investors, the big players. In order to really talk, the only years they will be get the bears in there in the early days. Since then to date, we're not getting it. Why? Because the resource is small. When they look at what we get for waiting them they do, it's Mickey Mouse. So they want, so they want big resources for let them can invest. That's what they do. We nearly bring our roads in there. Unfortunately, we shook hands. It was a done deal, and that meant the Russian troops enter Ukraine. And since then, we know it happened, and roads get sanctioned. They can no longer do business, and so that day they fell through. So the reality is, if we can have more credible investors in the country, people with the financial muscles for let them help to unlock the value of it. We talk about all these minerals all the time, but you never know the full extent of what we get. So we go get bauxite, we go get wood, we go get diamond, but what's the extent? So you need to invest a lot of money for do a lot of drilling, a lot of, reconnaissance exploration work for able to get that data. We don't have that. So we need all of that for let we able to for let people in capital. Last thing, and what most important, I think something we all can do now for markets alone. Sometimes in the small corner we tweet, we write these things, we write articles, then we get these headlines. We think these are things that we're not getting, but they have an impact. When somebody they go online, he check, he looks at these headlines, he look at what happen on social media, then they make their decision. I know the president has talked a lot about how much effort government has made, especially the president traveling around for markets the country and all of that. But I think even we can do so. And I always challenge the company investors and say the biggest form of recommendation we get now from one investor to the other. In this casual conversation, they get say, man, what's the happen at Salon? I mean, one can basically go. If they say, man, no one will don't do but that place is not a better place. That's it. He's not gonna come. I don't care how much PR we do, I don't care what's in, how much the conversation the minister gets with anybody, he's not going to come because the trust will come up from his colleague. And at the same token, if he says, man, it's a bit challenging, but I think there's something there, then we'll definitely on for come. And things that we write, comments that we make, we think these are innocuous, they're not going to be picked up by anybody. People comb the web before they make a decision. And so, no matter what me go now and try for say and defend and all of that, but we see this, we see that, we see this sort of stuff. It's difficult for us to go in there. So it's a problem. But you and I can play a part in complementing the office of government for markets the country. Because at the end of the day, if we make it look good, we make it nice to people, they will not come. It's like you get the business. If you market and well, people will buy. If you don't market and well, I don't care how good it is, people know who can be. So in a nutshell, we need money, we need more investors, we need access to capital, but we also need for make salon look good, because then when they go for open money, it's easy. If there's so much this perceived political risk and all of that, people are not going to put their money in salon because they say the political risk is too high. Yeah. You can't get anywhere with that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, especially for the note we end. Salon, big pass we all. Yesterday, I get the privilege to host the Cuban ambassador to Salon. He said, he don't travel plenty side in the world. He said, I'm one of the best countries this way, don't they out by here now. He said, the freedom organ I have, the peace country versus the country we need the inside. And like how the businessman is one of the biggest businessmen now, talk about mining sector, he leads one of the big. No, it's true. Now if you go try for fair money, no country they developed by government. No country can with $1 billion for campus down. 200 million, 400 million, see the money the way they call this one. In your company already puts $200 million. Take a while before they begin to get the returns. Until we get the one in the waiting list are called crocodile investors. You go get condo outcome. So we need for called crocodile investors. So we will get crocodile outcome. That's alone. But for do that, family, especially when in the 4th estates, now we are going to need for work together. This year, Salon don't turn 64 years. I want to tell them, see, this year, April 27, His Excellency don't direct for them to focus on civic. Let me focus this year. We begin now, every year, April 27, we get a civic theme. And for the first time, during April 27 Independence Celebration, we call Salon Day, we want for own that day. We reclaim April 27. We organize a national symposium at Frabe College. We call top historians who can explain to we waiting at April 27 the history of that day. We bring everybody across society, including international diplomats and all one for Kano Slolo talk about the country and this message with Mr. Kamaya Giso, with Mr. Minister Longi, and with Sister Steph Longi. I will tell you, thank you when I come and receive more information about April 27 when they come and we now plan them. I will tell particular thank you to the senior editor them. I see plenty of the partner and ally them and the media when all come today who gladly for sooner and also in our Ministry of Mines. That means a better day. When our mines call, when we come. Once you gladly for the partnership and the minister don't say, you know, every time we get in conversation, we sincerely realize there's so much more need for be said and explained that we'll continue to work together. I want to tell particular thank you to Mr. Joseph Bindi, we are the chairman for the National Council for Civic Education and Democracy, NACED, joining us today, and one of the major institutions there that we've been in clap for where they are. I want to thank you to Sister we come all the way come and for your organization, and I want to for congratulate the new chairman for the African Diamonds Producers Association, where they represent again pride, like this man, or Salon, and we will lead now a whole institution, we will bring all mankind, and that will be one for country country and the map. Until we meet again next week, let's take it to UNDP and the Chinese government who support to make this place here fine to get all them fine here with the air to AC blowing here. Take it to all over the Caribbean life and next week. Assalamu alaikum.
Samua.